99% of people are self-sabotaging their YouTube videos, and they don't even know it. The ultimate formula for business is know, like, and trust. And this is true for YouTube as well. So the question is, how do you build trust in your content? What are the mistakes you could be making that's actually hurting trust? And what is the ultimate key to not just getting a viewer or a subscriber, but to connecting with someone and creating a raving fan? In this episode of the Think Media Podcast, we're going to be discovering the 5 elements of trust from Dr. Henry Cloud's book, and we're going to see how those apply to writing YouTube scripts, building our businesses, our marketing messaging overall. And this is a super practical episode that you'll be able to apply immediately. So let's dive in. Today's episode of the Think Media Podcast is brought to you by VRApodcast.com. Once a year, we do a special sale on our signature program called Video Ranking Academy, and that's at VRApodcast.com, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. All right, now let's dive into the 5 elements of trust and talk about how these are directly relevant to every YouTube video we make and really every action we take in our businesses. The elements are, number 1, understanding; number 2, motive; number 3, ability; number 4, character; and number 5, track record. Now we're going to go through each one practically, but let me ask you a question. Have you ever turned on a video and watched somebody communicating, saw a certain video, maybe a public speaker, maybe somebody communicating any kind of message, and there was some reason you didn't quite trust them? Maybe they were saying the right things, but you felt a distance, you had your radar up, something seemed off. Well, why is that? And how do we fix that? Have you ever turned on a video and maybe you didn't know why, but you found, wow, I'm really connecting with this creator. I'm starting to really trust them. And I don't know what it is about what they're doing. Well, there's actually a science to trust. And if we're intentional to include these elements in our videos will not just perform better, but the bigger vision of what you're trying to build with YouTube, the bigger online business that you're trying to build will do better because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. They first got to know you, and that's why you should subscribe to the podcast to get discovered, get your videos clicked on, keep people watching, grow your channel. They got to just discover you. You need the actual impression. Do they even know you exist? Then they got to decide if they like you, some first impressions, add some value. You're making a little bit of connection at the like stage. But if someone's ever going to trust you, maybe the affiliate program you're talking about, the affiliate product, your own product, doing business with you, hiring you for a service, hiring you as a freelancer. If they're going to go all the way there, well, what can we do to accelerate and help people arrive at that destination? What can we do to communicate better and make that connection of trust, and what could be hurting us? Well, let's start with number 1, understanding. So here's what understanding means. You can trust someone when you feel your needs are understood, felt, and cared about. They get you, and they understand what makes you feel good. They have taken the time to listen. This is the law of empathy. The foundational aspect of trust is understanding the needs, feelings, and desires of the other person, highlighting the importance of being mirrored. So you might be wondering, well, how could I possibly listen to the audience when I'm making a one-way YouTube video? And I would challenge you, this foundational principle is what separates mediocre and great content creators. Because we've said it this way, the creator who understands the viewer best wins. So let me ask you, do the people watching your content feel understood? Well, Sean, how would I know that they do? Well, one of the ways would be the language you use, the empathy you express. If someone's watching your video and you are able to communicate, I can relate to what you've gone through because I've been where you are. The word choice you use and even the topics you talk about could express you being able to understand your audience. In fact, people who build huge audiences and have huge followings, the people who really follow them at a raving fan level, oftentimes feel this person gets me, they understand me. Well, that's not by accident. That individual, because of their past experiences and the way they're communicating. So what are some ways that you could actually include this in a video script? One of my favorite ways is using the word frustrating. You would say, do you want to accomplish this desire? Are you interested in reaching this goal? You know, it's frustrating when you're not reaching it and when you have this setback and that setback. And if you tap into maybe where you are a few years ago in your journey, what were those frustrating points? By articulating the pain points and the problems and the frustrations of the viewer, you are creating a connection where they're like, oh man, this person understands where I am. And this is foundational. So before you display your expertise and before you share your amazing answers and before you do all these other things, the foundational element of trust is understanding. Another language you could include in your script is, do you want to reach this goal? Do you want to achieve this ambition? Do you want to solve this problem? You know, it feels overwhelming trying to raise a child for the first time. I've been there. I can relate. So you can intentionally include the understanding element in your video script. It's scary when you can't get business funding when you need to make payroll. Maybe you have a loan product. So you're using language that is relating to what the audience could feel. You can trust someone when you feel that your needs are understood, felt, and cared about. So what is your target audience's needs? What is your ideal audience that the content you're creating for? Where do they feel misunderstood? Don't we like the political candidates and the people running for office that we feel like can understand us the best? A lot of people are frustrated and have tension in light because they feel like nobody understands me. I'm misunderstood. I'll apply each of these elements to my personal niche, which is helping you with YouTube. And so I try to communicate elements of understanding, being like, listen, I understand I have a team today, but I've been where you are. I've had to shoot the video and edit the video and do all the steps all by myself. It's felt lonely. It's felt discouraging. And sometimes I wanted to quit, but I was reminded that YouTube is worth it. And on the other side of ranking videos and building your channel is passive income and freedom. So don't quit. Maybe you've experienced some of these things at Think Media. I'm doing my best to include understanding, and this challenges us to continue to read the comments, to, if possible, talk to your target audience, meaning like literally call them or try to get them on the phone or get them on a Zoom call, because the creator who understands the viewer best wins. It's going to inform your topics. It's going to inform your titles when you're using language that they understand. And when you continue to listen, and you can listen on the internet, you can listen to big data, big groups of people, surveys on your YouTube community tab. You can talk to individuals. And when you come from this place of empathy and have a detailed understanding of the needs and the feelings and the desires of the person that you're going to want to help, you've just laid the strongest foundation possible for building trust. The last part, and we already touched it, is that if you can relate to your audience. So I want to encourage you, the person you're most powerfully positioned to help is the person you were yesterday or last year. And so one of the things you can tap into is trying to go back and remember, how did it feel for you when you were in debt and overwhelmed or discouraged or overweight or whatever it is your YouTube channel helps people with? By taking time to just weave in an element of I can relate. And sometimes saying I can relate can feel condescending. So there's kind of an art form to it. You're not like, it's not like the person born with a silver spoon being like, I can relate to the struggle. If there's dissonance and there's not truth there and authenticity there, it doesn't work. But hopefully you're building your YouTube channel around a problem you've solved, around a result you've achieved, around something you're passionate about, you've put the time in. So you can relate to having equal fandom for that particular game or that particular subculture and niche, all of those things. Number one, understanding. Nobody even talks about this, but if you can help the audience feel understood and seen and cared about in your videos, then you're going to have an unfair advantage, which brings us to number two, which is motive. Their motive is for you, not just themselves. The person communicating, this is what the viewer wants. They want the motive to be for you and not just for themselves. That means that they have your back. They will do nothing to harm you. They want the best for you. And even at times, they are willing to experience their own loss or cost and having a genuine care for others' well-being. Think about that, how that applies to the internet. How many people on the internet or on YouTube do you think that their motive is for you, not just themselves? That they truly have your back? that you will do nothing to harm them. Now, mind you, we have to build all 5 of these to have trust. You're probably already seeing how powerful this is. You're being like, this is why I don't trust my partner. This is why I don't trust my boyfriend or girl. Like, this is why I don't trust, like, I don't even think they have my best interest in mind. But you can see, keeping it in that YouTube vertical, okay, so how can you communicate your motive in video? There's something powerful about, of course, we want to trust somebody, where we all know, I think, that someone creating content, a business owner, of course, part of their motive is to make money, is to sell a product, is to get you to click on a link, so like, motive is not just altruistic, like it's just pure, like there's a business aspect to creating content or anything. But the key here is their motive is for you, not just themselves. So my personal example for this is oftentimes when we're talking about maybe products we have for sale at Think Media, I'll say, and listen, like, I like to be really transparent. It's like, and listen, we are a business and we do make money selling books or selling online courses. But I want you to understand, our mission here is to help you win on YouTube. And we are committed to that process. Here's some of the ways we back it up: the amount of staff we hire and faculty we hire that supports you in private groups. Like, we will not do anything to harm you as far as it depends on us. And we want what's best for you, and we have your back. And we understand that premium online courses or high quality books that took years to write and decades to learn, that it's a value exchange. So if money's being exchanged, we just want you to get more value than you paid for. That if you pay $10 for a book, you're getting thousands or hundreds of dollars of value in exchange. And so what's the motive? And people can sense your motive in how you're communicating, but also if you can help people understand what your motive is by weaving that into your script. In some cases, maybe you aren't selling anything, but if somebody can truly feel through your content that your YouTube channel is about helping them get a result, helping people, serving people, if that's the priority. And so how can you, in your next video, communicate your motive? Because if viewers don't trust your motive, they're not going to trust you at all. And I think there's some inner work to be done. You might be challenged by this question and say, actually, when I think about my motive, it's actually kind of selfish. Like, I don't even care about the viewer. I just care about money. So then you have the opportunity to change your motive. I know that for me, this is a continual work. I think, okay, is my calendar and my priorities and the way we're staffing and the way that we're investing money and the way we're creating content and the actions that we're doing, we are for sure optimizing to make profit in the business. So this is why we wrote down core values, like, purpose-driven, like the Bible is our blueprint, like love above all, because it then reminds me, like, let's keep our motive on track. Of course, we've got practical business results, but let's make sure not just me now, but our entire team is thinking about this. Like, this is not just about us. This is about helping you win. And one of the ways you could say this is, and here's my goal. And the goal of this channel, the goal of this business, and here's the goal. We've created an incredible product that solves this problem. And my goal is that you would love it so much, you would subscribe, you would enter your credit card information, you would because it would be a win-win. That's the goal. And that's going to be the ultimate sales message, right? If you can create a win-win-win-win-win. People love the product, you get money, you can support your business, yourself, your team, and they love it and everybody wins. And so it's knowing what is in it for you and what is in it for me. And my belief is that your income is directly correlated to the amount of value that you give to the marketplace. And so that as business owners, as creators in the creator economy, building online businesses, this is an important mindset and belief to have, because you're going to make enough money if you deliver enough value. I actually believe it's kind of a law of the universe that if you deliver enough value in a video and the video is well made and well positioned, it will get lots of views and then YouTube will pay you. And if you deliver a lot of video value in your free content, then people will be like, wow, this person is legit. I can see that they can get me actual results. I'm sure their paid content is pretty good. And even if their paid content is backed by like a crazy satisfaction guarantee, I see that they've removed all risk. I really could see that they're doing their best to like put me as the priority. They're here to help me win. Number 2 is motive. So if you want to build trust brick by brick, number 1, how can you articulate and weave into your content that you understand the feelings and the needs and the desires of the other person? How can you communicate your motive? And that's a question. I think just being aware of what's going through viewers' minds, whether consciously or unconsciously, the skepticism of today's viewer is saying, has this person even taken the time to understand me? What is this person's motive? Are they purely for themselves, or what's in it for me? What's in it for them? Which brings us to number 3, and that's ability. What does this mean? Ability or capacity to guard and or deliver what you trust with them. You know, a spouse would say, does this person have the ability to guard my secrets? You know, somebody who is known, you shared something private with them and then they told everybody, you're like, they don't have the ability to guard this information. The opposite is also deliver on what you trust with them. This would include skills. So are they able to actually pull it off? Like, for example, what we learn is that trust can exist in some areas and not in other areas. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Meaning, I trust a gardener to do well with my garden, but I don't necessarily trust that person to fix my car. And that's not a bad thing. I know, based on the legacy and the testimonials and the history that and the way the gardener is positioned, that that's their area of expertise. So if I understand that this gardener understands my pain points and what I want my yard and my garden to look like, and then I understand that their motive is, yes, they need to get paid, they're in business, but they like really want to help me win and they have my back and they're so obsessed with making my garden or my yard awesome, and then they have the ability to fulfill on it, then these are building blocks of trust. The opposite side, right, would be you might have massive credibility in one area and you have people who trust you and have a reason to put their trust in you in one area and not in another. And that's not even an ethical thing. It's a skill set thing. So that's what ability means. So how do we weave this into our scripts and our videos? Do you have any artifacts that demonstrate your ability? I mean, and at YouTube, I teach YouTube, right? Think Media teaches YouTube. I think now we have 3 silver play buttons: Think Media Podcast, Video Influencers, Sean Cannell, silver play buttons, and then a gold play button for Think Media. That's 4 personal channels. We've got a Monday.com board and all kinds of pictures on our success wall of students that have gotten those same results, which those would be artifacts in both cases. They'd be artifacts that I've personally been able to get some results on YouTube, and that I'm able to help other people get results on YouTube. And those are a visual element. So one of the things you could include in videos is, do you have an award, or do you have decor, or do you have artifacts like physical objects that demonstrate your ability? If you don't, that's fine. Is there other ways you could show your results? So to accelerate trust as a business owner, as a content creator, as somebody who's creating maybe free content that you hope leads to your products, services, your agency, you need to demonstrate your ability, and you can accelerate trust. By the way, when you apply all 5 of these tips, what maybe used to take weeks or months for someone to build trust can now be happening on the internet on autopilot if you're making the right videos and including the right elements. By the way, if you do the opposite of these things, you could be hurting trust or just missing elements of your video that are so important. So again, make sure to listen until the end of this episode, because we still have so much more to cover, and each of these builds on one another. So if you weave into your content, even as you storytell, and maybe you're illustrating a point, can you share an example of somebody else you've helped achieve a result? Also, creating interest for the viewer, it kind of reminds me. So I talk about Mary a lot. I go, this reminds me of Mary from Mary's Nest. She joined our program, Video Ranking Academy, when she was 60. She was afraid to get on camera, didn't know how to make videos, didn't know how to turn a camera on, was super nervous, and didn't know where to start. But as she followed our 7R system, she began to implement those tips. And today, she's about to hit 1 million subscribers. She has a book deal from Random House. She's ranked videos. She's created passive income. And when I tell the story too, I'll talk, there's all kinds of powerful aspects of it. It could be she lives in different regions. She's a cooking channel. So certain case studies build trust in certain areas. Because you might go, okay, you can help a cooking channel. You could help someone like Mary, but can you help a real estate agent? So depending on the environment that you're communicating and who you're communicating to, the case studies you share, the examples you share should reinforce the trust you're trying to build with a particular type of person. And of course, you have to use all of these. You don't have to, but our recommendation is that you use them with honesty, transparency, and ethically, meaning like if I had never actually helped someone in real estate, it would be an overreach if I said, I can help you with YouTube and real estate. But I have in that particular case. So I probably wouldn't tell them Mary's Nest story on a video with real estate tips. I wouldn't. I would talk about Levi Lassick, read YouTube Secrets, and in 18 months did 90 million top line revenue with 3 million real estate commissions from implementing those tips. So that would demonstrate ability. And one of the other ways to demonstrate ability is demonstrate that you can help people by actually helping people. Wow, it's pretty profound. But no, I'm serious. Like one of the cool things about free YouTube videos, especially if eventually you want someone to do something else with you, is that whether you have case studies or silver play buttons or gold play buttons or not, if by following what you teach, share, and educate in your YouTube video, people apply it and they go, oh my gosh, it works. You know how much trust was built right there? How much acceleration of trust? They go, okay. They go, 1, this person understood my pain point because they just solved it. 2, their motive is clearly to help me because they just helped me. And then 3, they have the ability to help me because they just helped me. So sometimes what could be broken in your business is the fact that your content or your free content or that your solutions are inferior at this point. And maybe that's a hard pill to swallow, but just meaning if you want people to trust that you have the ability to help them, then actually help them. And in the creator economy, you do this at the beginning for free, which is also really wild. That's kind of a new concept. Some people, maybe even more modernly, the pendulum is swung and there's like entitlement because like everything is free on YouTube. But like you think about it, like literally think about what's free on YouTube. And when people start to see, man, you can actually help me, man, trust is built. And so that is ability. Let's go to number 4. And if you're watching on the YouTube version, please smash like, give me some feedback in the comments. And then of course on audio, it always means the world if you can rate and review the podcast. And no joke, like if you just take a second to leave a review on Apple Podcast, it really helps us over there as well, as this is an audio and a video podcast. But number 4 is character. Number 4 is character. This one's interesting. So character or personal makeup, character is the personal details, personal makeup of someone that allows you to trust them. Now, what Dr. Henry Cloud in the book Trust breaks down here is that there's 2 aspects to character. There's the permission to play traits, but those are just the basics. And then there's the specific traits needed for the area with which you're going to trust somebody. Here's the difference. If we limit character to saying the person won't lie, cheat, or steal, that's not enough. That's foundational because that should be permission to play. Like it shouldn't be bragging if you're like, you know, one of the coolest things about our company is like we're honest. And it maybe in today's world, it's like, whoa, are you serious? Like the last 9 companies I worked, but like, of course, honesty and integrity and like not lying or cheating should be foundational. But he brings up something so powerful in the book. And by the way, we'll link this up in the show notes as we do. But this book is, I really think, essential reading. We're pulling out just this very obscure vertical of writing a YouTube script, weaving this into your business and your sales messaging. This will improve your relationships, improve you as a leader, help you better understand how to rebuild trust. There's obviously a lot of stuff we can't cover. Have you ever wondered why you go, you know, I don't really trust that person? Maybe you're talking and it's in your workplace, or maybe you work with your spouse and you think about somebody you're in a relationship with and you're like, I don't really trust them. And then you go through a filter and you're like, do I think they would lie or steal money from me? And you're like, no, I don't think they would ever lie. I don't think they would steal. I think they're honest. So then it's like, why would I not trust them? And it's because the specific traits for the area you need to trust them are not there. For example, maybe you're around somebody who's easily angered. Their emotions get the better of them. That's not lying. That's not stealing, but it shows that their emotional stability is insufficient for certain scenarios. So you don't put them in those scenarios. If you need somebody who's stoic and emotionally stable in for the scenario that you need to trust the person in, then that's the wrong person. And it's not a bad thing, but you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Now I get why I don't trust that person. So how could this apply to our videos? Well, as we are putting out all of our messaging, you're posting YouTube shorts, long form videos on social media, you are communicating your character in as much as people can see that public persona that you're putting out there. And I hope they would see your honesty and integrity. Your messaging should be consistent across all touch points. Like, for us, if we have different promotions that we do for some of our programs and they have deadlines, and the pricing and the bonus combination and the details of what's in that offer does end. One of the things that makes me uncomfortable is sometimes when people do web classes, they have like fake chat. I don't know if you've ever been on one of these, and they have like fake, literally like fake bots, and you're like, this isn't even a real conversation. And they just do that. Those are some honesty, integrity things. These little touch points can erode your trust in that person's character. But then as you work with or watch a creator more deeply, you might want to trust, let's say, them to be stable. How about being consistent? Like, being inconsistent on YouTube is not an ethical problem. Like, you're not like, oh, wow, he stopped posting. He's evil. You know what I mean? Like, she stopped posting. She's evil. No, she's probably honest and full of integrity and full of character, but I can't trust them. So are you being consistent because you made a promise with your content, with your channel, with your video podcast, and you show up and you deliver? Think Video Podcast comes out Tuesday and Thursday. Count on it. Like, we're delivering. If the schedule changes, please forgive us. But like, ultimately, then that builds character, builds trust. The consistency of this podcast builds trust. Whether or not you're like, I don't think Sean would cheat, lie, or steal, but I need other character traits like consistency. If you're going to trust, if I promote certain values. I have certain values where I actually encourage our team. Our number one core value at our business is the Bible is our blueprint, that there is a higher authority than my opinion or somebody else's opinion to how I conduct myself. So I don't want to gossip or be divisive or disrespect people's boundaries or go into anger or create drama or just do different things that would be outside of the character that I aspire to. Again, not necessarily right or wrong, but think about how you could include that in your videos. And the question for you is, are you getting the trust and the respect that you want with your YouTube content? And if you take a hard look at your consistency, you might make a statement like, the number one YouTube channel on the internet that solves this problem. The best content that solves this problem. Subscribe because we are committed. Those are good promises to make. But then the hard part is, can you back it up? And are you slacking a little bit? Are you putting out C-level content when you know you could do B+, A+ level content? You used to research 5 and 10 hours in your videos. Now you wing it. That, again, is maybe reasonable, but I'm not going to trust you. And the trust of the super fans and raving fans you want to build could be eroding. And so that is character. And then number 5, track record. The track record is performing in the way that you trust them to perform over time. If the track record is broken, it's hard to rebuild. And behavior builds expectation. So it delivers on a promise. You won't depend on someone based on the last break of trust. So this again puts pressure on us as content creators. Number 1, how can I communicate my track record? So if you say, I've been in business, and over the last 16 years on YouTube. So think about how that applies to you. That's what I say. I mean, at least it shows a little bit of history and legacy on the platform. I've been doing video for 20 years, YouTube for 16. It's going to be track record. It might also apply to ability. Now, it also might not, because just because you've been doing something for 16 years doesn't actually mean you're good at it. You know, some people are like, I have 10 years of experience. And it's like, no, you don't. You have 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. Like, if you're not learning, improving, and getting better, then it doesn't necessarily mean your track record can deliver. However, your track record is how you build a brand. Your track record is how you build trust. It's one thing to be like, okay, he got lucky once. It's one thing to be like, she had one good video. It's another thing to say like, oh man, never misses, man. She consistently delivers. Man, they're good for it. By the way, again, one of the reasons that we encourage you to eventually package what you know into a product for many in the creator economy, and especially in the education vertical of content creation, which many of the Think Video podcast community is in, right? We have entertainers as well, but a lot of us, right, are doing that education side of things. So it's incredibly relevant that you would someday make an online course and join the e-learning industry. But here's the pressure. Is we would never encourage you to just like put out some mediocre product, to just rush that, to just do it as a cash grab, to not deeply care about what you build and the time you put in making something that's great. And by the way, whether that's our opinion or not, the results will show when the instant you finally offer something to your audience and they join it and they're like, this isn't good, then why would they want to join other things? The reverse is true. If whatever you put out there, when you package something premium, if they go, holy goodness, this thing's amazing, you actually have built trust, track record. So if you offer something else, they might not need and probably don't need any explanation. Why? Because of trust. Because at that point, they're like, okay, this person clearly understood me. Their motive was for me because they got me the results. They had the ability to do it because I lived the results. I love the product. I love the experience. I love the video. I love the program. I love the Discord group. I love the paid community. I love the mastermind. I love the event. Their character in this vertical, you know, like I'm not hiring this person for marriage counseling. Yes, like they maybe aren't great at relationships and they've been through a divorce and some other things. And I didn't hire them for marriage advice. I hired them for business advice. So it's like character in a particular vertical. They're like they have proven to get results in this area. I didn't hire them to learn about empathy and love because they don't have that, but I hired them because they're really good at systems. So character in that vertical, and then track record, they have a history of doing it over time. And so practically, as we summarize, if you're writing out a YouTube script, if you're creating a sales message or a sales video, if even on YouTube, you're thinking about this video as a real estate agent, loan officer, as somebody that has an agency or does freelance work and wants to be hired, can you see now how you actually could, being aware of these 5 elements, include these in your next video? Hey, listen, I get it. I get what you're going to. I know that's frustrating and I've been there and I can relate. That's the understanding. You know, our mission here is to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love while making a difference with YouTube. And we have different products and programs and different ways you can engage with us depending on your budget. But we're here to serve you. Or we're here to help you win. That's the motive, you know? And then, you know, over the past 16 years on YouTube, I've built multiple YouTube channels. I've helped different people. And it's not just I that have done it. Because actually one of the biggest things people doubt is not your ability to do it. They just found you on the internet. They discovered you can pull it off. They're helpful. They're glad you're sharing tips, but the greater area of self-doubt is in the individual, not that you, there is skepticism perhaps of your results. So if you're backing up your results with receipts and proof and screenshots, it's helpful. But one of the most powerful things you could do with ability is demonstrate your ability, if you're an educator, that you have gotten results for other people that are just like them. And because then that's actually what's relatable. And so can you weave in demonstrating your ability with some case studies, with some results, with some screenshots, with some data? Can you then also articulate or express your character and also just continue to demonstrate your character with consistency? And then similarly with track record, can you compound this? One word of warning. Dr. Henry Cloud mentions that track record can be deceiving. And he mentioned Bernie Madoff and the Ponzi scheme. I believe it's a really good Netflix special. I didn't even know the Bernie Madoff story really until I watched it on Netflix. Because he was doing a Ponzi scheme, it would seem that he was delivering the results. He was helping people because people were getting paid out. And so word of mouth was, this is a good investment, and on and on and on. And I want to say it lasted like over 10 years. So this should be encouraging that we can still make mistakes. And sometimes when it seems like all five things seem right, all things seem like they're going well, his encouragement in the book is that while track record is a good indicator, you never know everything and you can't always see behind the scenes. And so that's definitely something to consider when you're assessing trust with someone else. But again, for you personally, the better you can communicate your history, your reputation, and then of course, the word of mouth of what's being said about working with you, watching you, if people are sharing, if they're working with your business, referrals, all of those things can be super, super helpful. So how can I weave these 5 elements into my videos, into my sales calls, my sales pages, my sales messages, my emails? And why do you trust some people and you don't trust others? This might illuminate some of those things, and perhaps you feel inspired. I actually bought the book and the audiobook, so we'll link those up. I love this book so much. Been talking about it. It's been challenging me, and I've been thinking about it in my relationship with my wife, in our business and friendships, but also how can I improve my next video. Now, before we land the plane, I want to remind you that right now we have a special sale going on at vrapodcast.com. Once a year, especially during the holidays, we do some special promos and offers so you can gear up and get ready to crush YouTube in the next year. And 2024 is going to be big. So I want to encourage you, check out the link in the show notes or go to vrapodcast.com to see all of the details. This program has transformed countless people's lives, over 10,000 students. We have lots of case studies and stories about the impact. And this is really the 7-step system that I created that'll help you create videos that get views and monetize those videos in multiple different ways. So if you're ready to stop dabbling and to start dominating on YouTube, to take your YouTube growth super serious, to invest, to step up your game, and to go all in, especially with the new year coming, then check out vrapodcast.com. And I want to thank you for being a part of this community. Subscribe, of course, if you're not subscribed, and maybe consider who could you share the Think Media podcast with. Perhaps this episode was illuminating. If you do watch the video version, I would love to hear your biggest takeaway and insight in the comments section. And of course, on audio, there's no way to comment, but if you rate and review the podcast, that is one way to send your love and appreciation back my way, if and only if you find the Think Media podcast valuable. I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Until then, Sean Cannell Rhymes with YouTube channel, and we will talk soon.